Hello and welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel here today and more transfer talk as we discuss possible replacements once again if Neymar is to leave us this summer and we're left with 222 million euros. Who are Barca going to go after? And very much going on the recent reports, are Barcelona interested in signing Liverpool's Philippe Coutinho and possibly Juventus's Paulo Dybala? So that's what we're going to be discussing in today's video, specifically those two players and whether Barcelona do have an interest in signing them this summer. We're going to be going over the reports, what they could possibly bring to the club, and if it is possible that we do sign them this summer. So let's first of all start with Philippe Coutinho. We've heard about him for a lot of seasons now, not just this summer. Last summer we were linked with him and it almost seems like one of those transfers which is almost destined to happen at some point. I think Liverpool themselves do have that sort of idea. This is almost an inevitable move, but right now Liverpool are very, very resolute. The fact they don't want to sell Philippe Coutinho. 25 years old now, he's had a few injury hit campaigns, but last season was a strong one for Coutinho. 31 appearances in the Premier League, 13 goals and 7 assists for Liverpool. The most important thing in this though, Liverpool now have qualified for next season's Champions League, which is important for Coutinho and very, very important for the club. And the reason now that they don't want to let him go is they've got a very, very big season ahead. And Jurgen Klopp yesterday was in a press conference. They said to him, look, do you think Coutinho is going to stay at the club? Do you want him to stay? And he said basically that he's not going to comment on any rumours, which is fair enough. But he did say that you could say that Coutinho is not for sale. That was his words. Coutinho will not leave the club. We want him here. We want to keep the squad together. That was what he wanted to say. And he basically went on to say that Coutinho he didn't think would be leaving the club this summer. Now, reports in the UK from the likes of The Guardian, the Liverpool Echo, have all come out and said that Liverpool would try to reject every offer they receive this summer for Philippe Coutinho. Barcelona reportedly tabled an offer of around 80 million euros, about 72 million pounds, and apparently that was rejected. So Liverpool clearly have their sights set on keeping Coutinho. Barcelona apparently are readying another offer for the Brazilian. Whether or not Liverpool will be budged this summer, I don't know. But personally looking at it, I would say that Coutinho is not really the target that we should be pursuing right now. I think he's going to cost well over 100 million euros. Liverpool definitely don't want to sell. Another Brazilian coming into the club, you don't really know how consistent he's going to be, how long he wants to stay at the club. We've seen with Neymar, things can change very, very quickly indeed. And I personally think there's other targets out there, the likes of Ousmane Dembele, possibly Christian Eriksen, who we could pursue instead of Coutinho as a first option. Now, we're not talking about somebody who's going to come in and like for like replace Neymar. Coutinho is more of an attacking midfield player. He's more of a player that likes to play in the number 10 position. Last season, he did play a lot of his football from the left-hand side though, so he is quite comfortable in playing there. But personally, I would go for somebody like Dembele, who may well even be cheaper than Coutinho and certainly would be cheaper in terms of wages as well. Somebody who's a little bit younger, a little bit fresher, a little bit more talented in the potential wise. He could bring a lot more to the club. But Coutinho, no doubt, is a quality player. He does suit our style of play. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. The only thing that does concern me is, like I mentioned earlier, a few seasons ago he was ravaged by injuries. He does pick up quite a few muscle injuries throughout the season, which if you're paying a lot of money for a player, you do want them to be available every week and ready to play the matches. So we do play an awful lot of matches every season. How that would have its effect on Coutinho, you don't know. But personally, I think right now Liverpool are very, very keen to keep hold of Coutinho this summer. Barcelona reportedly are going to make a bigger offer. Whether that will be accepted though, we don't know. And of course, all this is just rumours, nothing at all confirmed. And of course, right now Neymar is still at the club, so we can't go looking at other targets while he's still here. No doubt the club making a few inquiries because they know that if Neymar does leave, they need to act quickly. Coutinho could be one of the first names on our list, but right now the messages coming out of Liverpool and from their owners, the Fenway Sports Group, they have no intention whatsoever of wanting to sell this summer. So that does take us on to the number 2 target, Paulo Dybala. Now, I don't think the two of these are linked. I think we could possibly go in for both of them if we had the money from the Neymar deal, but according to Mundo Deportivo, who are quite a reliable source when it comes to the club, a lot of people think that Bartomeu and the board actually feed information to Mundo Deportivo in the Catalan Catalan news, and they feel like that is actually quite a reliable source this summer for Barcelona news. They came out yesterday with a story that said that Barcelona had already targeted Paulo Dybala to come in and possibly replace Neymar in the team. Now, once again, I don't personally feel like this would be a like-for-like replacement, because although a lot of people think, Dybala's left-footed, he's quite an agile player, he's got a lot of pace, he didn't actually play on the left at all last season. He played his football down the middle as a false 9, as a centre-forward, and as a number 10, so at no point did he spend his time on the wing. He is one of those players, though, that likes to drift in a number of positions during the game. He's quite versatile in the way that he plays. I think, once again, like Coutinho, you would say that he suits our style of play. He's very, very comfortable on the ball. He's got an excellent first touch. He's certainly got an eye for goal, as we ourselves saw last season when he scored 2 past us in the Champions League. What I would point out, though, is as well as he played in that game, he was nowhere to be seen in the Champions League final, and I do believe he is right now quite inconsistent. He's just 23 years old, he's still finding his feet in the game. We were linked with him before he even joined Juventus when he was leaving Palermo. There was a quote that came out that said he would perhaps swim to Barcelona if he had the chance to play there, but that was never really proven if that quote was true. But what I would say about Dybala is I'm not sure right now he's at the consistency required to pay the 100 million mark, which apparently Juventus want for him. Now, of course, in this market, it's inflated. A lot of players are going for very, very big money. But what I would say, look at last season's stats from Paulo Dybala. He made 31 Serie A appearances, scoring just 11 goals and creating 7 assists, which is a decent return. But Juve, apparently, according to Mundo Deportivo, will demand 110 to 120 million euros for Dybala. Mundo Deportivo went on to say that an agreement has already been made between the player and Barcelona. Dybala wants to come. Juventus are happy to let him go if they receive that massive fee that I just spoke about. But like I say, if you look at his numbers from last season, although he is involved in a number of periods of play, I accept that. He's a good player all over the park. He has good vision. He's good in terms of his passing ability. But in terms of his final product, he is inconsistent. He was not even in the top 20 top goal scorers in Serie A last season. It is known as a defensive league, but there were 20 more players who finished with more goals than him last season. So it's not all about goals, I accept that. But when you're paying 100+ million for a player, you do want a good return out of them. You do want them to score goals, create goals, to be the heart of everything. And I'm just not sure that Dybala warrants that sort of money right now. And I would once again look to somebody like Ousmane Dembele, whose numbers last season and his end product was outstanding. I think he should definitely be our number one target if Neymar does leave. The first player that we should go to is him. He's a Barcelona fan, some report. He wants to come. Borussia Dortmund, arguably easier to deal with than Juventus, certainly easier to deal with than PSG, so we definitely got a chance in getting him. Once again, I would say that he would probably be cheaper than Paulo Dybala in terms of wages and in terms of transfer fee. So I think these two targets are being looked at by Barcelona. I think both Dybala and Coutinho have both been linked with Barcelona in the past. It is clear that we do have an interest in both of them. I think both of them would also be very, very interested in joining the club. Both of them admire the way that we play. They feel like they could see themselves playing at the club and suiting the style of play. I also agree with that. I think both of them would fit our philosophy. They're good on the ball and they could certainly fit in with what we're trying to do here. But I think the transfer fees for both of them are very, very high. I think both clubs would rather not sell, particularly this summer. Juventus have lost key players already. The likes of Dani Alves and Leonardo Bonucci have already left them this summer. They don't want to sell any more of their key players, of course, because they reached the Champions League final last season. They've been growing season upon season under Allegri. They don't want to start losing their key players now. And like I said earlier, it's a very, very important season for Liverpool. They're back in the Champions League and they certainly do not want to lose Coutinho for the coming season. So both clubs will be very, very difficult to deal with. I think there's better targets out there for value for money wise. I think both of these players have shown themselves to have had a decent last season, but both of them are known to be quite inconsistent and in Coutinho's corner quite injury prone at times. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. What do you think of both of these targets? There's no denying their talent, but will they fit what we need at Barcelona? Do they fit the profile? Can they slot in where Neymar may depart and leave a big hole in our squad? Do you think they could certainly give us what we need going forward for the future? And they do have a lot of potential between them, both of them pretty young, but are they worth the money that the clubs will demand for them? Let me know down below. I'm very, very interested, and as always, to hear your thoughts. And of course, later on today, Barcelona do take their first game of the summer in America against Juventus themselves. We'll be seeing Paulo Dybala on show tonight tonight against Barcelona. So let's see what he can do. Let's see if he's worth it. His trial is tonight. So I'll be back for the match preview for that game. I'm very, very excited to see Barcelona back in action again and to see what Valverde can do for us. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. I will see you very, very soon. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça.